right, welcome back to episode 5 of Red Wine and CBD, the podcast. More of an informal episode today, no interview. So thought it'd be a good time for the three of us to kind of recap some of the episodes and interviews we've done already. We've had some really interesting insights from a wide array of personalities. We've had a champion motorcycle rider, we've had a wine enthusiast, and we've had a health and wellness enthusiast who really showed how health and wellness is a crucial part of your daily life, but also how CBD can be a part of that. And of course, the common thread through all three of those were that they use CBD in their daily lives. So why don't we start with James, guys? I thought it was very interesting to hear him talk about how, and I know Jeremy Lang uses this all the time, that he loves James's saying of CBD in the past he felt like a square, and with CBD he's more of a circle now. What was some of your guys' takeaways from hearing James talk about how he uses CBD in his daily life?
My initial takeaway is he probably needs to use more.
Well, and I get what was interesting with James.
I love James, but he's full tilt. So
he's now, and it's an interesting, and I wasn't anticipating this when we interviewed him, but it really kind of almost shifted from he's an athlete, but now he's also starting his own business, and he has run his own businesses before. So he's really a busy individual, right? So to hear how he used CBD, it was interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. How he weaves it in, and why he started using it in Europe, and then he used it. He's gotten back into it, and he cycles, he sells real estate, he still rides the motorbike. He's just bought a house, like he said. I joked him, I asked him because going to Daytona in a couple of weeks, and asked him if he's got any extra beds. And he wrote back, "I got a bed and a couch. That's about it." So he's living the bachelor life, but also incorporating CBD to help kind of regulate his mood and his just overall well-being.
Yeah, I thought he gave a pretty authentic description of how somebody might use it. From being isolated essentially over in Europe and not really knowing anybody, and the anxiety that came along with that. To kind of working through some of the performance stuff at the track, and so I felt like it was a really a cool understanding of how he's used it in the past. And you're right, man, he is very wound up, and he just goes after it. And so somebody like that could definitely benefit from a more chill perspective.
Yeah, I go back to when we had him at our appearance at the Harley-Davidson store in Concord. That's just his personality, right? His personality is nonstop, and I love it. I mean, it's engaging, and I think it's also why he's successful in what he does, because I don't think he's afraid to take the risk, which is why you see him jumping into real estate, and I don't think he's afraid to be him, who he is. And I think hopefully CBD and has allowed him to be more comfortable in his own skin and recognize and accept, that, he's a little more energetic than most people,
Yeah.
I mean, it works for him. So that's the cool part about it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's interesting to hear from all aspects of his life, and he's top tier at what he does. I don't know how many listeners we have that follow motorcycle racing, but I encourage you to look the guy up. He's been a winner in just about everything he's ever done.
Yeah, here and overseas, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
And then having Corinne on, which is interesting because she puts the red wine in the podcast, and she knows her wine, and she claims to be an enthusiast. I think she's probably an enthusiast. Extreme enthusiast, and listening to how CBD helped her through her health struggles over the last few years was refreshing to hear, and eye-opening, and rewarding for the products that we have, and knowing that we have high quality CBD. Not that she was using our stuff back then, but it's high quality CBD makes a difference. And we Jeremy and I preach this from the rooftops. It's education, and it's the challenge is that There's a lot of stuff out there that's good and lots of that's not good, like anything else. And I think the one thing about James, the part that I liked about James the most was James said, CBD works when you realize it starts to work when you realize it's not, when you realize it's starting to work, right? It doesn't just, it's not a snap your fingers. You wake up one day, you don't wake up the next day saying, oh my God, you wake up, a week later saying, oh, it is working. I don't, you notice starting to learn the difference. And by the way, did you say premium? I should say premium, not high quality. Sorry. I was thinking of Waterboy, high quality H2O. You seen that, Tom?
I have seen the Waterboy, yes.
Good.
Yeah. Good. No, I think with Corinne's story, it was, and you guys are more in depth with CBD on a day-to-day basis, but that, for me, it was eye-opening from the perspective of when I thought of CBD and the things that it can help you with. I want to be careful with the way I say this, because I don't want it to sound like things like anxiety and your daily aches and pains are trivial, right? Because we all have them, and we all, but that's what I kind of always drew the line of, okay, CBD helps with those kind of things. But to hear her story of how it was a major health issue for her and how she really attributed CBD to helping her through that was very eye-opening to me, to hear a story with that scale, really how it was beneficial for her.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was pretty, that was another authentic story, that was told about usage of CBD and how it benefited the individual. Super cool. As the brand, as the product, we're not allowed to talk about health benefits and make medical claims, but it's great to hear other people come on the show and talk about what it's done for them. So it's really cool. And then Allie, this past most recent podcast, just she brought a wealth of knowledge about diets and working out, and how she integrates the CBD into her lifestyle and her family. And she probably could guide us all on grocery shopping and cooking and working out. So yeah.
I definitely I felt that in the back of my head when I was grocery shopping earlier this week. They shopped the outside of the store. It's something I never heard before, but no, it's interesting.
It definitely makes a difference in your life. I mean, JD, you're what are you, day 41 of hard 75?
Yeah, 41.
And not that I'm keeping track of JD's hard 75, but I also know that I'm looking forward to him having a drink on one of these podcasts one of these days. But you're doing the health kit, you're doing that health start, kickstart, and it's not easy. And I think it's easy to eat bad. Mm-hmm. It's hard to eat healthy. Not from a mental standpoint, just because it's the bad food is more accessible and easily to get, right? And it's a lot more affordable also, right? I mean, the inside of the store, it lasts longer. It's tend to be cheap. The outside of the store, the fresh fruits, vegetables, produce, dairy, all those things, it adds up quick. And but it takes a commitment to do it. And I think it's an education process very similar to the CBD, that what you eat daily impacts not just your I'm full, but from your blood sugar to your sleep and your alertness, and all those different things are impacted by what you put in your body, chemically and food wise. So
yeah,
for sure. So I guess so for the rest of the episode, I think we'll just do a little peek behind the curtain here. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about the logo for Queen City Green, right? I'll call it loud logo, for lack of a better word, right? Because it's got the cannabis leaf right on it. And I think that is probably the most frequent question you guys get, right? Is, hey, will it make me fail a drug test? all of that. It just, when you see something like that, it naturally kind of opens up the questions to some of the natural stigmas that are there that still surround cannabis, right? So why don't you guys talk a little bit about how you develop the logo, what it means to you guys, and go from there.
I mean, I think when it came to the logo, I don't think Jeremy and I had, concerns about which way to go. We went down a path. We had people designing. JD, what do you think we had? Over 100 logos to look at? Easily, right? From the different websites we did to, we finally ended up going with a designer that designed this logo, and we liked it because it's got a little bit of a retro look to it. It's got a cannabis / hemp leaf. It could be one or the other, one and the same type of thing. And it's got, we really wanted something that was more of a circular badge versus, and was easy to be recognizable and played off the name Queen City Green. And we went down the path of, we went down many different logos and alternatives of certain logos, and we edited certain logos. And to be honest, we went down the path of a different logo first. And I think JD, you said, hey, how about this one? I was like, I don't like that design of the thing in the middle. And you're like, hey, just take that part out and let's do this. And we ended up with this logo. And I think it's loud. I think it's loud because it's different, right? And it's got the leaf, but we're proud of where the CBD comes from. We're proud of what it means, and we're proud of the name Queen City Green. And honestly, our vision for this company down the road is potentially to get into the cannabis industry from a reseller or a retail outlet or where it may be. We're in North Carolina, so where it's not legal now, but the name Queen City Green could play well with CBD or cannabis. And we went down that path of, we didn't want to go Queen City CBD, because then if you change it to cannabis at some point in time, you're changing the whole different logo. So for us, green works, and we both, like it, enjoy it. And it is funny though, when my kid wants to wear his hat that he has, and he's 9, and I'm like, hey, you probably shouldn't wear that hat to school. But probably not to baseball practice. That's probably a weekend hat outside, at the disc golf course or in the backyard playing your buddies. There's not a lot of that. Don't wear that hat in public. And not that I'm ashamed of the logo, it's the stigma that it comes with, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's and I don't know if people aren't seeing it, but if I can show it there, the plant's the plant. At the end of the day, if you were to go out into a field and there was, cannabis with THC growing right beside a hemp plant, you're most likely not going to be able to tell the difference between the two plants. We've gone out to farms before and really have somebody with a very skillful, knowledge of growing to kind of pick out some of the differences between the plants. And you can do that, but to the untrained eye, you're not going to tell the difference. Yeah. And so, we talk about education all the time, and this is another way for us to help educate people that, hey, this all comes from a plant. There is a difference in the THC and the hemp, and what the CBD is made of, and where it comes from, what it's good for, uses and such. And obviously we're in Charlotte, which is considered one of the queen cities. I think we're doing our research, there was like 30 plus queen cities around North America, which that's great. We'll start one queen city at a time and expand from there. So but it is one of those things that it is in your face. It's pretty bold, but it's the truth, and the truth shall set you free, my friend. So
there you go. Look at you quoting. And
I don't know who I'm quoting, but
was that?
I don't know who I'm quoting, but
no,
whatever.
Man, it could be the Bible for all I know. It's not though. But I think the part that I enjoy about the logo the most is, I like the crown on the center leaf, because it's a little it's fun and it's a little, I don't say edgy, but we're serious, but we don't take ourselves that serious in a sense, right? And when it comes down to it, and it's not. I mean, there are different CBD companies, and they all do a great job, and they all have their own logos and their brand identity and image. But it's some are medical grade, some are C-store quality, some are in between, right? And I think ours, the reason we went with the logo is it's just fun, and for us, it represents what we're trying to do, and it speaks to, like Jeremy said, where CBD comes from, and it's a cool retro type logo, and we enjoy it. So just want to give a little background on that as far as where it came from, why, and it shouldn't deter anyone from trying CBD, because our product is still premium, still THC free, and high quality, grown in USA. So it's not nothing to be afraid about.
I was going to say, I think it encourages people to ask questions, right?
It does.
It's my joke is the first time I helped you guys out with an event, Lang calls me before the event. It's like, hey, can you go pick up some bags for us? I need some bags for when we're selling product. So I swung by the Hobby Lobby, and I walk into the Hobby Lobby, and I notice people are looking at me, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then I remembered, I was like, oh, I've got my shirt on. And you could tell, like, people are curious,
they thought you were going to buy little plastic dime bags.
They did.
Literally, we were going for shopping bags.
Yeah. Get a little scale in the back too. Right. But no, and it's good. And I think it's interesting to hear you guys talk about it, because it opens you up to questions, and you're not afraid of those questions, right? Because you believe in the quality of your product and the natural, like JD was saying, it's a natural plant, and there's very little chemicals that go into from leaf to product that you have, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we were afraid of getting asked questions, we would not have gotten in the industry.
Yeah.
Because, I think my parents still think that we're selling cannabis.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't worry me. I just, it's one of those things where we've talked about this before, and we talked about it on our first podcast, and we talked about our first episode of the podcast. There's a stigma to it. And, our mission in this is to educate so that there's less of a stigma. And even with cannabis, the stigma with cannabis versus CBD versus cigarettes versus cigars versus anything else you put in your body, right? I mean, it's no matter what you do with the CBD or the cannabis, or it's natural. And, and I don't think there's anything to be ashamed about. Now, there's probably truth in the, people who think that marijuana or cannabis is a gateway drug. I don't buy that, but I'm also not the person that's the judge and the jury on that, right? I mean, we're here to educate people on the use of CBD and where it comes from and the history of it and what the benefits are and how it works different for every person.
Yeah. I was thinking about as you're saying all that, and I'm kind of switching gears on this, but going a little more lighthearted. But the performers on the Super Bowl halftime show coming up on Sunday, I could see them wearing a shirt like this,
100%.
So,
we should send them one.
Something different.
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, I mean, and they're in a state where it's legal. So, yeah, where it's all legal, right? So, I mean, and I don't think Snoop Dogg doesn't matter where Snoop Dogg is anywhere. I think he thinks it's legal. So, I mean, he could be on this podcast in North Carolina, and he'd still be thinking it's legal. So, and that's nothing. It's just, but who's going to arrest Snoop Dogg for smoking a joint? That's what it comes down to.
So, speaking of the halftime show, who is everyone most excited to see? We've got a wider range of characters on this halftime show. Jeremy, we'll start with Lang. Who are you most excited to see perform here?
I mean, Dre.
Dre?
Yeah.
That's your guy.
I mean, there's no other. I mean, he's the godfather of West Coast rap. So, and I don't know, Tom, I think you're the one that sent me that promo, the Pepsi promo. I have not seen a better 3.5 minute sizzle reel ever. If that's not the best, I'm not sure which one is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it comes up with, they have all the Kendrick Lamar, and they have Mary J. Blige and Eminem and Snoop Dogg all get the call, right? And it's all from Dre, who's on the beach orchestrating this whole thing and playing chess. I mean, I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm more excited about that than I think I am the Super Bowl. So,
JD, what about you?
I was just looking at the list again.
I've got it here.
Yeah, Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar. Is there anybody else?
I'm sure there's got to be. There'll be surprise guests. Got to be.
Yeah. I mean, they're all solid for sure. I grew up listening to all these guys, and I mean, I remember even the Mary J. Blige, man. Had her. I don't know what we have back then, CDs, or I think that was past the tape phase. But
it was between the tapes and CDs.
Yeah. So I just think it'll be a classic, and I think it's cool, man. LA's done a great job. It's cool to see their team in it, and that should be a lot of fun for everybody in that area. So,
how about you, Tom?
I get it. I think Eminem appeals to my generation a little bit more. Eminem and Kendrick appeal to my generation a little bit more, right?
I like Kendrick. I think Kendrick's good at what he does. It's different than Dre, though, right? It's different than Dre and Snoop Dogg, where Dre and Snoop Dogg are much more slow, laid back, whereas Kendrick Lamar is just like at you.
Yes.
It's full, like it's like pulsating almost.
Yes. No, I'm excited for nothing else. I think, and again, talking a little bit more about Eminem, he's got a wide array in his library to pull from that I all think would be good Super Bowl halftime music. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see the whole thing together. I am excited to watch the game. I think Joe Burrow is going to put on a heck of a show. That dude's he's a competitor. But no.
I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not excited to watch the game. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I saw Joe Burrow hadn't lost. I mean, they were showing a video of him. I guess he was playing Auburn. He threw a pick six, and he got lit up like a Christmas tree by the defensive lineman. And the guy was talking smack to him. And the stat said, never lost a college game again. And it's just like, the guy's just a winner. I mean, from the sake of smoking cigars in the locker room, he said, I guess he smoked a cigar after they won the national championship. And he said, anytime I win a championship, I want to smoke cigars. And I just think he's a gamer, it's crazy to think he's only in his second season, and they were like 2-14 when he got drafted by them.
It is amazing.
I mean, if that's not a turnaround in 2 years, I'm not sure what else. That's a blueprint for what to do to get your team from. The Jags should be looking at that right now.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of is, and different markets, obviously, but Broadway Joe, he kind of has that swagger and that feel to him, same first name, but I could see, wouldn't be surprised to see comparisons.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Joe Burrow wearing a fur coat walking to the game.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, whereas like Joe Namath, I mean, I think Odell Beckham and Joe Burrow could wear the same outfits, and you wouldn't second guess either one wearing the same thing, right? Because it's just
Would you say Cam Newton could be in that crowd as well?
I think Cam Newton's like one step above them
on the outrageous scale.
On the never wear it again scale, along with the never play again scale.
Never play again. Coming back, man.
Yeah. You know how I feel about Cam Newton.
So I just started Googling some stuff about the Super Bowl, some facts that are always interesting when you come up on these big games or ticket sales, right? And just how much the price of tickets are going for. So apparently a trend this year, and I don't know how much LA plays a factor in this or what it is, but parking passes are going for as much as the tickets are. You can get tickets for around $4,000, and there are parking passes that are going for above $4,000.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So to get yourself, just ballpark it, and this is before fees, which that's always where they seem to get.
You're looking at $12,000. You're looking at $12,000 for 2 tickets and a parking pass.
Yeah.
Before fees, and you even eat a bite of food.
Yeah. So I was listening. It was interesting to hear people talking about how common knowledge. You think the Rams would be an advantage playing at home, right? But the Bengals are actually going to be the official home team for the game, right? And oh my goodness, these guys are getting inundated with requests for tickets, and I don't know how you manage.
Yeah, I don't think that the teams. I don't know the exact stats, but I think the teams get equal amount of tickets for their fans, and then they go in the open market. The NFL sells ticket stuff. It's not like you said. It's yes, it's played at SoFi Stadium, but it's not a Rams home game. And by the way, for the record, if you watch the Rams playoff games through the playoffs, home games, that stadium when they played the 49ers was almost more 49er fans than it was Ram fans.
So on Ticketmaster, the least expensive ticket as of Monday afternoon was going for $4,500. The highest was listed as at $55,000.
I need a lot of CBD after spending $400 on a ticket.
Both prices don't include fees, which can vary from $1,000 to up to $10,000 for the fees.
Wow,
and that's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot of CBD.
That's
they're not offering 30% discounts like we are on our stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely no Valentine's Day buy one get one.
Shameless plug for us right there. Just FYI. I feel like I'm on Radio Row at the Super Bowl doing our little pitch for what product we're pitching here on our on Radio Row.
So speaking of Radio Row, right? And we've had some really good guests on here so far. If you could handpick any guest that you would want to interview for this podcast, who would it be?
Oh man,
I'm putting you guys on the spot big time here.
Yeah, you are. It's cool.
And there's this magical thing called editing where I can edit out all the downtime where we're staring at the floor.
I don't know. I think, what do you think, JD? Are you going, I mean, there's so many different angles, music from to history to, I'm going to say Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. There you go. Why Elon? What would you want to ask Elon about?
His thought process in developing brands that are revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of, he controls a lot. He's got a lot of juice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got swag, he's got power, he's got it all, right? I mean, he's right now, I mean, I don't know.
He's got to be one of the most recognizable dudes in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just across generations, he's got to be one of the most just easily, oh yeah, that's Elon Musk.
Yeah, my second guy would be a tie between Ryan Reynolds and Justin Timberlake.
There you go. Those are your boys.
Yeah, just because I think that'd be fun to talk to.
Yeah. JD?
Yeah, Timberlake, it would be fun for sure. That was, I was going to say somebody from the music industry.
And he does it all too. Like to me, he dances, he acts, he pitches products, he plays sport. I mean, he's a heck of a golfer, heck of an athlete. He's just like he's like a guy's guy, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, it's just somebody that's like super intriguing, that everybody wishes they could have access to. Now, I don't know who that is, but I don't know.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, you asked it, so I got to ask it back to you.
Well, that's why I said it was a good question, because I asked it.
Oh, that's right. That's great. I while you're thinking, I'll tell a story. I was in college, and the person asked a question, and the next person asked a question, and the teacher said, "That's a great question." And the person that asked the first question went back and said, "Wait, does that mean my question wasn't great?" And so, I always found that funny because it's one of those things that no such thing as a stupid comment, just stupid people who make comments type of thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Dana, who is it? Because you're a little younger than us, so who you going with?
I've always the answer. One of my answers to the question, like, who would you want to have a beer with? One of my answers has always been Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Because I just think
great answer.
I think that dude is just. I mean, he's fascinating, right? And even listening to his podcast now, like he's got a great just kind of gauge for what's interesting, and I know Lang's a wrestling nerd the same way I am. Just hearing him talk about, I love listening to him talk about the business, but I think it would be cool for this podcast too, because all of those old wrestlers have so many nagging aches and pains, and just, unfortunately, I think a lot of them get in the bottle to deal with a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
But that is a guy that I would definitely want to talk to and just pick his brain on things.
It's cool.
I always, with him as well, I always thought it was interesting to hear him, and I think it's applicable to a lot of forms of media today, right? How he always attributes what made him so damn successful was Stone Cold Steve Austin was just himself cranked up to like 13 or 14, like taking the knob and just cranking it up. And it's interesting to hear that kind of stuff, because it's authentic but over the top at the same time.
Oh, I think that goes hand in hand with, I think successful people are one. It's their person. They're true to themselves, and just amp up their voltage or whatever you want to call it to go to the next level, right? I mean, it's.
I also want to talk to Ric Flair to ask him what the hell he's doing right now, because I heard he was getting a divorce, and now he's posting pictures of his ex-wife, now wife, in like a bikini or something. So I don't know what's going on in that.
You have way too much time in your hands.
Me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You're following Ric Flair's like marital status?
I mean,
so for Halloween this year, this 30-something-year-old dad in our neighborhood was trick-or-treating with his kids, and he dressed up as Ric Flair and took his little boombox and would play the intro music.
Oh yeah,
just walking up and down the street going, "Woo!"
There you go. So he'd be pretty. He's from Charlotte too.
Was he chopping people?
Oh yeah, he was. He had the full get up, man. That was great.
My favorite Flair gimmick was when he would do the thing where he'd get hit and then he'd walk around and like walk down the steps and then out
down
to
his
the
head.
and then he'd hit the deck. That was one.
Or when he'd get thrown over the ropes and he'd go head over and land on his feet outside the rope and then walk the thing and then walk the ring apron.
Yep.
We just got to wrestling though. I don't know how we ended up on wrestling. Thanks, Tom.
I said Steve Austin, man.
It is.
But so we're rapidly approaching where we are in February now, which is crazy to think about. I know Lang and I are heading down to Florida next week. JD, what else is going on in your world? Anything crazy?
Every day's crazy in my world with
there you
go. My family, but I have my wife's birthday and Valentine's Day 2 days apart, so that's always exciting. I will be in town for that for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but I haven't spent many of those weeks in town.
You're welcome, by the way, for that.
Sport. What's that?
You can thank Kat. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because you speak about Valentine's Day, and we usually, having been in NASCAR for so many years, it's usually that week, right? And so I was thinking, I usually send flowers to my daughter. This time I can save about probably $60 by buying them.
Yeah.
Versus having to order them and ship them.
Yeah. So you got that coming. We're just spring break's not far away. Just a few weeks away for us as well. So just put the hammer down until you got a couple of these breaks. Keep going.
I'm excited what we have coming up on the horizon for the podcast. We're lining up more guests, and I think it's I'm enjoying this, and I think the guests we have on have been great, and they've enjoyed it, and it just gives an open forum to talk about just life and and have fun and kind of just not worry about life for a while, right? And our goal is to make it lighthearted and fun, but also weave in CBD whenever we can, because that's what's near and dear to our hearts. So,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening. Like Lang said, we've got some fun guests coming up. We're excited to keep this rolling. Go over to queencitygreen.com. Make sure you're checking everything out, reading those blog posts, and use code REDWINE25 to get 25% off those quality CBD products. So thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you soon.
See you guys.
That's where I'll cut it.
Premium CBD products. Premium.
Uh-oh.
I already got yelled at.
We're down to quality, man.
Oh, yeah.
Not even high quality. Just quality.
Now it's just quality.
My bad.